He was pretty honest there concerning VAR and the referee stopping the game, and perhaps he stopped it because he himself wanted to go and look at the monitor, make the decision, as he is the official in charge on the pitch, not whoever's in Stockley Park. Chris, what did you make of this? I know we discussed whether it was or was not a penalty. You had your say at half-time, but still interesting enough to hear what's happening on the pitch from Luke Shaw there.
Yeah, I think he makes a reasonable point about, if he stops the game. I think we all thought once he stopped the game, then we went over to the monitor that a penalty would be awarded. The fact the penalty wasn't awarded is still something which baffles me. What on earth was he looking at, Stuart Atwell, when he went over to the monitor? There are sort of better angles which we can look at. What we do know is it hit Callum Hudson-Odoi's hand first. That the hand was in an unnatural position, out away from his body, and it just baffles me. And Luke Shaw said in his interview there, he's not going to moan about that. Well, just wait for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's interview. He will be furious. That decision could have cost Manchester United 3 points. It certainly looks like it did. The referee goes to the monitor. How on earth can he not see what everybody else around the world sees? He must have been the one person in the world who thought that that wasn't a penalty.
Well, the other interesting part of that interview, Renee, was he said that, I think when he said H, he means Harry Maguire, that's his nickname. What the referee was saying to the Manchester United captain was that if he was to give a penalty, it'll cause too much conversation, something along those lines. That is a strange thing to say, isn't it?
Well, for me, I don't know why that doesn't happen, but in my opinion, the only way to get this justified or rectified, whatever it is make the referees responsible and get them in front of the camera and tell us why he made that decision. What did he see? And I think, if I'm correct me if I'm wrong, but when that game Chelsea broke, and it ended up with a shot from Ziyech. Now let's assume that ball goes in, so it's 1-0 Chelsea now, and then he has to go look to the monitor. Could have been even more interesting, because what was happening, but. The thing is obviously everybody's a lot of discussion about VAR, and I think, at the end of the day, VAR's here to stay. And I think it's a good thing, but they have to get these things right. And when they inform the referees, then you think, why is it not happening? So for me,
Adam, there's more of a conversation now, isn't there? Because he didn't award the penalty when everybody thinks it was a penalty, other than Stuart Atwell. That's created a bigger conversation. So it's ridiculous for Stuart Atwell. If he did say that to Harry Maguire, what a daft thing to say.
100%. 100%. And like I said, but that's why I would like to have those people, but they get protected. But why not come in front of the camera and say, listen, everybody is baffled by that decision. Can you please explain why you made that decision?
Do you know what's happening today, Renee and Chris, in Italy?
Go on.
So there was a game yesterday. It was Spezia 2, Parma 2. And it was announced even before the match happened that the referee in charge, hope I'm saying his name correctly, Daniele Orsato, is going to go on Italian TV to explain any decisions that he made in that game that might have been contentious. Now, this decision to have him on the show was made before the match happened. I want to stress that. There was nothing of real note, like perhaps we could say there was in the handball incident with Hudson-Odoi. So this was predetermined. And it's not like in England where if there was a representative like Mike Riley would go on TV to explain what, say, Mike Dean or Stuart Atwell or Lee Mason had done on the pitch. It's actually the referee who's in charge of the game going on TV. Is that something that could ever happen in England, Chris? If they're doing it in Serie A?
I think it is. Yeah, I think it is, and I think Rennie makes a really good point there. And the other thing is why not mic the referees up? Now, I'm saying I do not understand why the referee did not award a penalty once he went over to the monitor. And the point here is if the referee is mic'd up and he tells when the fans are back in the stadiums or everybody around the world why he made that decision, then at least I could have an understanding of why he did not award the penalty. But sitting here at this moment, I've seen the pictures, as we've all seen, and it hit Callum Hudson-Odoi's hand, which was in an unexpected position. It was out from his body. Therefore, we are all told that that is why a penalty should be awarded. So why wasn't it awarded? Tell us why. And, you know, whether it's after the game in an interview or the referees mic'd up as they are in other sports, such as rugby, I think that that would be, you know, a massive help to everybody to get a better understanding.
Renee?
I totally agree with Chris, because, like I said, you know, there's obviously millions and millions of people watching this, and we see obviously the same video footage, and we come to that conclusion. And for whatever reason, you know, the referee he didn't, and I'd like to know why.
But the thing is, when it's all fine and dandy to mic up the referee, but do you remember when David Lettery was mic'd up? It was Millwall versus Arsenal. In fact, the guest we had on the show before the both of you jumped on board was Tony Adams. Now, he was caught swearing and saying all sorts of lewd things to the referee. How do you handle that? Because apologies are being made because swearing is being picked up by microphones right now with no audience in attendance. Can you imagine if the referee was mic'd up? Well, every other word would be bleeped out, Chris.
Right, I take your point, but here's my point. Do they use it in other sports? Do they use it in rugby? Yes, they do. Does it work in rugby? Yes, it does. And I think that naturally, I do take your point, and you know, it's a very good point. But players would understand that, and I think they would tone the language down over a period of time. But the important thing is for us to understand, and you know, it's a very difficult job, refereeing, and you know, we all understand that. But just tell us why. Just tell us why you have made that decision. And even if we don't agree with it, then at least we can sit back and see it from the referee's perspective. And that's the important thing. Just clear the whole thing up, because now, you know, we're sitting here after the game talking about another incident where this isn't necessarily VAR which has failed. It's the referee's inability to actually spot what happened, seemingly. It looks like when he went over to the monitor, he had some sort of blindfold on. I don't know. I couldn't tell you why I didn't award a penalty. Really couldn't.
Well, it's a strange weekend, isn't it, gents? Yesterday, Lee Mason. Now, we didn't cover the game, but I did play the clip for our guest who joined us. And wow, I mean, when Lee Mason blew the whistle to allow the free kick to happen, then he blew it again. He disallowed the goal, then he allowed it. Then VAR intervened and said, no, you shouldn't allow it. And now Lee Mason has pulled out of being the fourth official for the Liverpool-Sheffield United game later on. It's just stirring up debate, but the referees want to be applauded onto the pitch as a sign of support. It's very confusing times, Renee.
Yeah, it certainly is. I also like to know, because this is my idea. Because Chris, as you know, you've played yourself, and you know how it goes in games, and the emotions ebb and flow through the game. It's the same with the referee, and I'd like to have your opinion in it, because still this moment, they're giving the referee the opportunity to go to the screen. But whatever happens in the game, the referee is full of emotions as well. Now, let's assume you are ref in the game, and I'm the fourth official or in charge of the VAR, and you have to trust me 100,000,000%. You know that, because I can see it and this and that and the other. So I wouldn't want you to go to the monitor. I would basically say, listen, Chris, this is what's happened. It's clearly, I can guarantee you, this is a penalty. So you make 100% sure that decision, and it's a penalty. If you have to go to the monitor, you carry the emotions of the game with you. And sometimes, when it really, really matters, winning titles or relegations, whatever, the emotions are high, I don't think referees can think clearly or see clearly. So what's the point? You know, when the VAR is there, it's clear, help the referee, you know what I mean? And that's it, that's period. And you can always look back to it. And, you know, that's my opinion. So I don't know what your take is on it, to have the referees go to the monitors or not.
Yeah, well, I think the issue with that is there's been a lot of incidents this season where the on-field referee has made decisions after being advised from back at Stockley Park, and ultimately it's turned out to be the wrong decision. And then the referee, the on-field referee, is the one who gets slaughtered for it. I think the decision yesterday with Lee Mason, I don't know why on earth he went to the monitor. I just thought that was he was at the stage where I don't know what I'm doing. This is pure panic. Yesterday's decision came down to this, and this simply. I think Lewis Dunk said, "Can I take the free kick quickly?" And I think that he got permission from Lee Mason. Lee Mason stepped away from the ball, blew the whistle, and then once Lewis Dunk hit it, he probably realised that the West Bromwich Albion goalkeeper wasn't in the position, and then he blew again, and then all hell broke loose, and he just panicked. But we saw Lewis Dunk's interview after the game. I think he called the whole incident embarrassing, and I think he was pretty much spot on. What I would say is Lee Mason made a mistake. It was a horrendous mistake. It's human error. Players make mistakes all the time, and you know there will be the spotlight on Lee Mason, but he got that one badly wrong. Imagine if Brighton get relegated this season because of that decision.